Okay, now there's another paragraph here that really bothers me. And it should bother you too. And in fact, well, we'll look at it. Now here we are depending on Hubbard had a stroke, 1978. We're depending on this class 12, senior CS, to do our next step, I guess. And that wouldn't be bad. That wouldn't be bad because there were some other class 12s there. And okay, let's continue. Hubbard had a good run. Hubbard had a good run, and his life, he was about 74 or something like that when he finally passed away. And okay, he got sick. Somebody picked up the ball, and let's keep going. Except for this one thing. I'll read it. He says, I continued to audit Hubbard, developing procedures, and later co-authoring the descriptions, knots, etc. And then knots started out to be a write-up, he says, what I found wrong with Hubbard's past auditing. And now I repaired it. In my mind, that was a remedy for what had been done incorrectly, rather than a new OT level of levels. So he says that knots is not an OT level or levels. In this auditing, I found much of his case trouble came from net auditing and his OT3 solo auditing. So here's David saying that net auditing was bad on Hubbard, that it was his case was bad because of net auditing. Yeah, I tend to agree with Mayo on this. Net auditing isn't very good. You should go back to standard dynamics. If it was bad on Hubbard, maybe it's bad on you too. I don't know. All right. There were also errors in some other levels. The case manifestation that I found, errors and charge areas, how I found them and what I did to repair and correct these matters will require a lengthy explanation. For now, suffice to say that this auditing that I did on Hubbard and later tested on some other persons using the E-meter and Scientological theory and methods and phenomena I observed demonstrated, at least to me, that the information on OT3 story was at least inaccurate. So he's saying OT3 is inaccurate, guys. All thousands of people who did OT3, guess what? It's inaccurate because David Mayo thinks it's inaccurate. And possibly inaccurate and possibly completely incorrect. Why am I bringing this up? Is it because people are following David Mayo and you should know that he's in doubt of OT3? Maybe. In view of the awe in which I held Hubbard and his theories about the mind and the spirit at that time, that discovery required a giant leap step and change of viewpoint for me. The discovery that he was like OT3 was false. In fact, like I know a lot of people who train under David Mayo in the San Francisco Bay Area, and to this day they swear that OT3 is false and it was all Hubbard's imagination. They got that from David Mayo, by the way. Okay. It was not the first time that I had such a thought. I distinctly recall my momentarily disbelief when I first opened an OT3 pack and began to read the galactic story. Hubbard's statements that really is proportional to charge off and my strong belief of his rightness in other matters forestall deeper skepticism for the time being. David Mayo was in doubt. He thinks OT3 is a fake to this day. And we followed his tech. See, I was fooled too. I followed this tech up to 1992. Then I talked to Pierre, the class 12 in the FreeZone. Which bridge do you do, Pierre? He says, oh, they're all the same. Didn't he say that? But we found that he was doing the male bridge. And I said, well, which bridge did you got out of the church? You know, I got out in 1990 or whatever. And you got out of the church. What is which bridge is the church doing? Males. Okay. So we go and move to the RTC bridge. The bridge to total freedom. And you know what I might do? I might do this here so you can see it easier. And what they did was they, of course, got rid of the original T levels, and they did other things too, which I'm going to show you. And they said the bridge to total freedom. Now I know they changed the name, the bridge to a new world, to the bridge to total freedom. Now, isn't this a absolute? Total freedom? That's an absolute statement. It doesn't exist. Absolutes don't exist. So there you go with their bridge to nowhere bridge. They're David Mayo, based on David Mayo's foundation. But the irony is that they here they kicked David Mayo out for squirreling and developing all of this tech, but they wound up keeping it. Isn't that weird? All right. Now I finally figured out why they winded up keeping it, because they sold it to the world. They sold it to the American public. They sold the idea that this is LRH, and if they change it now, they could be caught for fraud. They could be sued for fraud because they are fraudulent. It's not LRH. It's David Mayo, the guy who's in doubt about OT3. You notice he never came back into the FreeZone and help out? He doesn't care about it. It's not. He's not a FreeZoner. If he ever was. Now, I have nothing personally against the guy. I kind of like the guy. I had a beer with him and we talked and had a good time. You know, well, personally, he's okay. I like the guy, but the facts are, I read from his own statements of what is. And go back to our stable datum. Our stable datum is that, okay, we're going to do what LRH says because LRH is the guy. That's why I dropped the RTC bridge, David Mayo's bridge, in 1992, because it wasn't no longer LRH. Does that make sense? Yeah.